Comparatives and superlatives is a topic you have probably studied by now. So we use comparatives to compare two things or two people. Superlatives are used, however, to compare or show the difference between more than two things or people, and it is going to be used with groups. So let's see some examples here. The first thing to remember is the number of syllables a word can have. For example, the word nice, in this case, has only one syllable because you say nice. So to form the comparative, you are going to add ER to the adjective if this adjective only has one syllable. So you say, for instance, you say tall. So you want to add the comparative, you say taller, and then you say taller than. That's how you create the comparative expression. The superlative takes the particle est. So then you should say the tallest to mention that this person, this thing is the biggest, the tallest in this case, compared against a group. So this is what you do. And here are some examples. First, you want to remember that one syllable adjective ending in one vowel and one consonant should take the comparative and duplicate it or double it. For instance, if I have the word big, the comparative of this word is bigger because I have these three letters, B-I-G. Then this is a consonant, this is a vowel, and this is another consonant. So all I do is double the last consonant to use the comparative and say, my car is bigger than yours, for example. For the superlative, we apply the same rule. So then the new word would be the biggest. The biggest. That would be for the comparative, and now for the superlative. Now, if the word ends in Y, all you have to do is take the Y, replace it for an I, and then add ER. And at the same time, take the Y, replace it by another I, and add EST. For example, if I have the word happy, the comparative form of happy would be happier, which is right here, and the superlative would be the happiest. Now, if a word in this case has more than one syllable, for example, the word exciting, what you have to do is that you take exciting, 3 syllables, and then you have to add this particle, the particle more, and of course than. So you say this is more exciting than, and for the superlative you do the same. You add the particle the most exciting. So you may say, this is the most exciting movie that I have ever seen, for example. So here are some other examples for us to understand. It says, the Nile River is longer and more famous. I have 2 syllables for the word famous. Then I use the comparative and I add the particle more than the Thames. Then we say Egypt is much hotter than Sweden. Hot has 1 syllable. I double the last letter and add ER. Egypt is much hotter than Sweden. Everest is the highest mountain in the world, and this is one of the most exciting films. So those are examples. And also here you want to remember that there are some irregular comparatives and superlatives for you to pay attention to. So bad is the plain adjective, but then we have the comparative form, which is worse, and the superlative, which is the worst. Far, farther, farthest, far, further, furthest, good, better, and best, little, less, and least, many, more, and most, and much, more, and most. Those are the words you want to remember because those are irregular forms of the comparatives. Just to remember, you use comparatives when you want to compare Ellen and John. Ellen and John, only two people. So you say one is taller than the other. But then if you want to talk about Ellen as a person compared against a group, for instance, here it says Ellen is the most intelligent student, for example. So this is how you use them. And finally, if you have similarities, because I just want you to remember, in this case, I'm going to compare A versus B to say that A is bigger than B. Taller, wider, the way you want to express it. Then here I am going to say that B is taller than A. But in this case, both are the same. Both A and B. So I can say A is as tall as B. And this is the comparative you want to use to express similarity. So for example, you say Mike is as intelligent as Nancy, or Larry is as popular as Oprah. And this is how you study this topic. I'll see you next class.